For years, players blamed slot losses on wild conspiracies, player cards tracking every spin, jackpots rigged to vanish after a big win, secret timing tricks that promise a lucky hour. Those are myths, but the real story is far worse, and it is hiding in plain sight. In Ex-Casino CEO Exposed, 6 ways that casinos cheat on you with slot machines, a former industry insider reveals how legal design tricks like invisible extra reels and coin flips with only one side quietly drain your wallet. Forget the myths. Here's how the math is guaranteed to beat you. The real question: do you even recognize the ways you are being played? Player cards are one of the most misunderstood tools on the casino floor. People swear the card itself changes their luck, that swiping in or out can turn a cold streak hot. In reality, the card is nothing more than a data tracker for comps, free buffets, hotel nights, and the occasional show ticket. It has no connection to the slot machine's outcome. The software running the game does not even know or care who you are. All it records is how much you have wagered, how long you have played, and what tier of rewards you have earned. The real action takes place inside a sealed computer chip, where a random number generator spins through thousands of numbers every second. Pressing the button simply grabs whatever number is flashing by at that instant. No player card, no amount of loyalty, no personal history can nudge the odds in your favor or against you. No secret. The idea that casinos tighten a machine after a big jackpot refuses to die. Players whisper that the slot is due to go cold, or that management can flip a switch from a back room. In truth, changing the payout percentage on a regulated slot machine is a bureaucratic ordeal. First, the machine has to be powered down and opened. Then a technician replaces a secure chip, logs the change, and files paperwork with gaming regulators. Every adjustment leaves an audit trail. No casino manager can secretly lower your odds after a win. The reality is much simpler. Jackpots are rare by design, and after one hits, the odds go right back to their original unfavorable settings. The machine does not remember or care what just happened. It is programmed to take in more than it pays out over tens of thousands of spins. Timing. Myths are just that. Myths. Some swear by playing late at night, others on weekends, convinced that certain hours or days bring luckier payouts. This is superstition. The random number generator inside every modern slot is completely indifferent to the clock on the wall. Whether it is 2 p.m. on a Tuesday or midnight on New Year's Eve, the math never changes. Regulators require that every spin be independent, unaffected by time of day, previous results, or even the weather outside. The only thing that shifts is the crowd size and the background noise. The odds themselves are locked in, certified, and audited by state authorities. Real edge. For years, I watched these myths swirl around the slot floor. Players blame their losses on secret tricks, hidden buttons, or bad luck tied to their player card. But the house does not need to cheat in secret. The truth is, every slot is built with the math already stacked against you. The real edge is right out in the open, hidden in the design and the law, not in some midnight code change or a player tracking system. If you want to understand how casinos really win, look past the urban legends and see the machinery for what it is. A perfectly legal, perfectly regulated game where the outcome is always in the house's favor. Picture a coin flip, heads or tails. It feels even, a true 50-50 shot. But in a casino, what looks fair often is not. Slot machines use a method called weighted odds, and it is one of the most effective ways the house stacks the deck without breaking a single law. On the surface, a bonus game might ask you to pick red or black like a simple coin toss. Behind that choice, the software quietly tips the scale. Instead of a real 50-50, the code might make your chance of winning just 1 in 10. The other 9 times you lose. Weighted odds are not just for flashy bonus rounds, they are baked into the DNA of every spin. When a player presses the button, the random number generator inside the machine spits out a number at lightning speed. But not every number is equal. The software assigns more winning combinations to losing outcomes and far fewer to jackpots or big prizes. It is like filling a hat with 10 slips of paper. One slip reads win and the other 9 read lose. You cannot see inside the hat, but every time you reach in, the odds are fixed. The machine does not care about your last spin, your player card, or the time of day. It just follows the math, spin after spin. This design is intentional. Back when slot machines were mechanical, the odds were simple. Count the symbols and do the math. With computers, designers can create any probability they want. They can make a game look and sound like you are always just a step away from a jackpot, while the real odds are buried deep in the code. For players, it is almost impossible to tell. The reels spin, lights flash, and everything feels fair. The house knows exactly how much it will keep over thousands of plays. Weighted odds make sure of that. Even when a bonus game looks like a fair gamble, the software can quietly tilt the numbers. Every outcome is certified by regulators and tested in labs, but the advantage always sits with the casino. The beauty of weighted odds is that they keep the game feeling random and exciting, while guaranteeing the house walks away with the profit. For most players, it is a detail they will never spot unless someone on the inside tells them where to look. If you remember one thing, slots are entertainment, not a way to make money. Play only what you can afford to lose. Every spin on a modern slot machine starts with a burst of code, not a clatter of gears. What you see, the spinning reels, the scattered symbols, is only a small piece of the real action. Underneath, the machine runs on virtual mapping, a system that quietly determines the outcome long before the reels slow down. In the old days, a slot's odds were as simple as counting the stops on a physical reel. If there were 22 stops and one was a jackpot, you could do the math yourself. But today, those visible reels are just for show. The real odds are buried in a hidden strip of numbers, often with 256 or more virtual stops for every visible reel. The software assigns each stop to a symbol. Maybe a cherry, maybe a blank, maybe the jackpot. Most stops are blanks or low-value icons, while the jackpot might only get one spot out of those 256. Here is how it plays out. When you press the button, the random number generator spits out a number for each reel. That number points to one of those 256 virtual stops. The machine then looks up which symbol is mapped to that stop. Only then does it decide what to show you on the screen. To the player, it looks like a regular spin, but the truth is, the outcome was set the instant the button was pressed, thanks to the mapping in the code. Let us break down the math. If each of 3 reels has 256 virtual stops, and the jackpot symbol appears only once per reel, your chance of hitting 3 jackpots on a single spin is 1 in 16,777,216. That is not a typo. It is a number so big it is hard to picture. Yet the reels might show the jackpot symbol somewhere every few spins, giving the illusion that a win is just around the corner. The mapping ensures that blanks and low symbols fill up most of the slots, while the big prizes are almost invisible in the code. This is not a secret or a trick. It is the foundation of modern slot design, certified by regulators and tested in labs. The mapping tables, which decide how often each symbol can actually land, are reviewed by independent testing agencies before a game ever hits the floor. Regulators require that every symbol has at least some chance to appear, but they do not limit how rare the jackpot can be. The visible reels, with their colorful fruits and bars, are there to keep players engaged. The real odds, though, are locked in the virtual strips that no one ever sees. That is why the same game can feel hot or cold, lucky or unlucky. But the math never changes. Every press of the button is just a new draw from a pool of millions, with the house edge built right into the architecture. The illusion of fairness comes from the spinning reels, but the real power sits in the mapping tables, buried deep in the software, ensuring the house always keeps its share. Slot machines are engineered to keep hope alive, even as the odds quietly drain your bankroll. One of the most effective tools in this design is the near miss. Imagine watching two jackpot symbols snap into place, your heart pounding as the third reel slows, then stopping just one space away from the win. It feels like you were inches from a life-changing payout. In reality, that sense of being almost there is no accident. It is the result of careful programming, backed by years of industry research and legal debate. In the late 1980s, Nevada regulators faced a wave of complaints about machines that seemed to tease players with constant near wins. The most notorious case came in 1989, when the Nevada Gaming Commission ordered a sweeping retrofit of thousands of slot machines. The issue was that manufacturers had programmed their games so that blank symbols, those that mean no win, were stacked right next to jackpot symbols on the virtual reel. This made it far more likely that a losing spin would look like a close call. Regulators argued this crossed the line from fair play into psychological manipulation. Players should be able to estimate their chances by watching the game, not be misled by design. The compromise that followed set a technical limit. For every real jackpot, a machine could show up to 12 near misses. This rule was meant to cap how often players felt one away from winning. But even after the retrofit, the industry kept searching for ways to keep players engaged without breaking the law. The near-miss effect became a legal feature, not a bug. Engineers learned to tune the frequency just enough to keep the dopamine flowing, but not so much as to trigger another crackdown. Slot designers took inspiration from everywhere, including fast food sweepstakes. The McDonald's Monopoly game is a classic example. Park Place is common, but Boardwalk is vanishingly rare. You might collect the first two pieces dozens of times, but the last one almost never shows up. Slot machines use the same trick. The first two jackpot symbols are mapped to appear far more frequently than the third. On a typical three-reel game, you might see the first two symbols line up every few spins, but the odds of landing all three are buried deep in the code, sometimes less than 1 in a million. The emotional ride is real, even when the math says you were never actually close. Studies show that near misses light up the same reward pathways in the brain as actual wins. Players sit up straighter, press the button faster, and keep playing longer. The software quietly tracks each outcome, mapping most spins to blanks or low-paying symbols, and only rarely allowing the jackpot combination. Regulators today require that the frequency of near misses matches the true odds, not a pumped-up illusion. But the effect remains. The game is built to make hope feel just out of reach, spin after spin. For the player, it is easy to believe that the next spin might be the one. But from the inside, we knew the real secret. The system was designed to manufacture optimism, not to deliver life-changing wins. The near miss and the boardwalk illusion are legal, regulated, and deeply effective, turning every almost win into another reason to keep chasing what was never really within reach. Slot machines love to celebrate, even when you are losing. On a modern multi-line slot, a spin can light up the screen, play triumphant music, and declare you a win, all while your bankroll quietly shrinks. Here's how it works. Say you bet $5 on a single spin. The reels land, bells ring, and the machine flashes a big win message. But when you look closer, you have only received $2 back. The machine still treats this as a victory, even though you are actually down $3 on that spin. This is not a glitch. It is a feature designed to keep you feeling rewarded, even as your losses pile up. Every time you see coins raining down or hear a jingle, your brain gets a little shot of excitement. Casinos call this hit frequency, the percent of spins that pay anything at all, even if it is less than your bet. Internally, these are counted as wins, and they inflate the game's statistics. A machine might advertise a high percent of winning spins, but most of those wins are net losses. The sound and animation are not just for show. They are carefully engineered to make losing money feel like progress. Over time, these small, celebrated losses add up, draining your bankroll while you remember the fun of frequent false wins. The math is simple. If you keep betting $5 and winning $2, the machine will eventually take everything you put in. Recognizing these false wins is the first step toward understanding how the house edge quietly works, spin after spin. Every slot machine on a regulated casino floor is built around one unavoidable fact. The house edge is certified, tested, and locked in from day one. There is no secret switch, no hidden algorithm waiting to pounce on a lucky player. Instead, the math is written into the DNA of the game, and it is all above board. In the United States, state gaming commissions require every slot to pay back a certain percentage of all money wagered. This is called the return to player, RTP. On the Las Vegas Strip, most slots are set between 85 and 92%. High-limit rooms sometimes offer up to 97%, but never more. The rest is the casino's share, guaranteed profit over time, not through trickery, but through certified math. Independent labs like GLI and BMM test every new game before it is allowed on the floor. They check the random number generator, the virtual reel mapping, and the payout tables. Only after passing these tests does a machine get its approval sticker. If a casino wants to change the payout, they cannot just flip a switch. They have to remove the machine, submit new software for testing, and log every step with regulators. That is why the house does not need to cheat. The edge is already programmed, and it is public knowledge for anyone willing to dig through state reports. Slots now account for more than 80% of casino revenue in the US. That money comes not from secret manipulation, but from the simple, relentless certainty of the house edge. The real trick is not in the software. It is in convincing players that the next spin might be different. But the numbers never lie, and the math never changes. Casinos legally engineer slot machines to guarantee long-term losses. By design, not deception. Today, Americans wager over $100 billion a year on slots, fueling record profits while players chase impossible odds. The real game is not on the reels. It is in understanding the rules. Knowing the math is your only edge. Every spin is entertainment, never a promise.